Hi guys, the Middle Maniac back again. This is another album review. This one's a little bit different. I'll tell you why in a second. In this video, I'm gonna be reviewing the album Beyond the Gates by the band Possessed. But also as an added bonus, I am gonna be also in the same video doing a review of the EP that's added on the disc called The Eyes of Horror. Which I guess originally was a separate release, but then they just added the EP onto the same disc. As you can see, that's the main album, and that's the EP. But yeah, so the first half of this video, I'm going to be doing a review on the actual album, and then the second half, I'm going to be doing a separate review, but on the same video, I'm going to be doing a review of the EP. All right, so this is again the album From Beyond by the band Possessed. This is their second album. Their first album was called Seven Churches. That was released in, I think, 85. Yeah, it was 85, and then this was released a year after, in 1986. I don't know exactly when the EP was released, but it was released around the same time as this album. Band members. It's the same lineup as the other album, but I can't exactly remember what their names are. Okay. It doesn't say. Oh, wait, I just remembered. I was looking at this before, and it doesn't actually say who the band members are for some bizarre reason. Anyway, just gonna skip that. Anyway, so hold on. There we go. Okay. The album starts off with an intro. Okay, speaking of incorrect track listing, this album has 16 is listed with 16 tracks in total. In total, including the EP tracks on the EP. But on the actual disc, when you put it into a CD player, it only lists up to 15 tracks, and here's why. So the intro and the first song, like the intro and the first song, are actually bunched together. Like on the disc, the intro and it's listed like both the intro and the first song are listed as track 1, so they're both together. Whereas on the actual listing, on the track listing on the actual case, it lists the intro and then the first song separately, when that's not actually how it is. So there's one extra number listing here when it should be 15 all included instead of 16, because for whatever reason, again, they split up the track listing of the intro and the first song when the intro and the first song are all one thing. But yeah, so track number 1 is the intro. Now I'm confused. Track number 1 is the intro and the first song. Don't go by the track listing on the case. Go by what the player says. It's all one song. Anyway, so the intro slash, I guess you could say intro slash The Heretic. This one, like, intro half is actually really good, but the actual song is kind of dull. It's just kind of forgettable. Technically, the third track on here is track number 2, Tribulation, also kind of dull. Next track, technically track number 3, March to Die, it's okay. Track number 4, Phantasm, okay. Track number 6, wait, no. I'm just going to go by, I'm not going to say the numbers, because now I'm getting confused because it's the wrong track listing on here. But next song is No Will to Live. This one's also kind of meh. Beyond the Gates, the title track, is also kind of meh. But here's where the album picks up. The album picks up at the tail end of the first half, beginning of the second half, with the song The Beasts of the Apocalypse. This is where the album truly picks up. This is where I really started to get invested in actually paying attention, because the other half, the first chunk of this album kind of really started to get really boring. But Beasts of the Apocalypse is actually pretty good. I do really like it. Has a really epic feel to it, kind of. Next track is Seance. This one's actually pretty cool. It's actually kind of creepy sounding, kind of has like the whispers and stuff, and has a lot of cool creepy sound effects. I do really like the song. Next one is Restless Dead, also a really good song. And then Dogfight, which is a very short, forgettable instrumental. But yeah, so that's all for the actual album half. I will be getting into the EP, the review of the EP, like in like a minute. But I'm gonna give you my overall thoughts of the actual album, full album part. Kind of a forgettable album. Like, the only songs that are, in my opinion, noteworthy are The Beasts of the Apocalypse, Seance, and Restless Dead. Probably my favorite is definitely Seance, but the album itself, I'm gonna give it maybe a 2 or I'm gonna give it a 3. No, a 2 out of 10, just because even though the songs that I mentioned that are good, the 3 songs that are good, they're not great. They're just sort of that's pretty good. Unfortunately, the album, most of the album is just very boring and forgettable. But yeah, so Beyond the Gates, the actual album part is gonna be a 2 out of 10. Now going into the EP. Now I'm gonna do my review of the EP that's actually added on to the same disc. Okay, so I'm gonna go by, like, it says track number 12, but again, track listing is messed up, so I'm gonna keep this separate. So technically, track number 1 of the EP is Confessions, a really good song. I really like it. Track number 2 is My Belief, another really amazing song. Track number 3, The Eyes of Horror, a really good one. Track number 4, probably my favorite song of the Eyes of Horror one, the EP, is Swing of the Axe. Really catchy, really good, really awesome riff. And then the last one, Storm in My Mind, is also really cool. Yeah, I mean, one thing to note is that the actual album itself kind of has the same sort of style of the first album, just a little bit more perfected, I guess you can say. Like the first album, you can tell is definitely black and thrash. This one has a tinge bit more of the death metal, old school death metal style, but not much. And then the actual EP, the Eyes of Horror EP, sounds a little bit closer to old school death metal. Like, maybe that's why I don't really like. I don't know. It's just the EP sounds a lot better. It has a lot better track listing. The songs are a lot more memorable. I'm gonna give the EP, the Eyes of Horror EP, a 10 out of 10, whereas I gave the actual full-length album a 2 out of 10. I do really like this EP. I don't know why the actual Beyond the Gates album, though, is just sort of forgettable. I mean, even with the first album, even though I don't love the first album, there were some songs on there that I absolutely love, like The Exorcist, Holy Hell, Twisted Minds, a bunch of songs like those I do really like on that album. But this album's just forgettable completely. Like, yeah, there's a lot of forgettable moments on the first album, but this album is just completely forgettable, except like the 3 songs that are sort of, oh, that's pretty good. But yeah. So that's it for my review of the Beyond the Gates by Possessed, and the EP also by Possessed, The Eyes of Horror. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.